When you come from survival mode, you're only going to create more situations and experiences to survive in. So how do we break that pattern today? Let's do it. Welcome to the Real on Manifestation podcast. This podcast bridges the gap between mystical and practical, making manifestation real, accessible, and achievable so you are an embodied energetic match to actualize everything you desire. I'm Minerva, your manifestation coach and host, and I've manifested every single thing I have ever wanted, from dream homes, new levels of income, trips, clients, businesses, TV gigs, relationships, as well as winning jackpots and contests. But it's not about the tangible manifestations for me. It's about how you feel and who you be on the way to there. With 3 businesses, 2 kids, and marriage to my childhood sweetheart, one of my proudest manifestations is feeling balanced, spacious, and free in my ever-expanding reality. Creating and maintaining your dream life doesn't have to take force, but ease, and I'm excited to guide you through yours. In this space, you'll receive expert insights and proven tools and strategies you can apply immediately to start manifesting everything you ever want. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. Hi, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of The Real on Manifestation. This week, we're going to go into the topic of how to break the pattern of creating from survival. How do we break the pattern of creating the results that we have, the life that we have, the business that we have, the money that we have? How do we break the pattern of creating from survival mode? I see too often women in survival. Yes, in threatening situations, I actually have been seeing women in my masterminds, in groups that I'm a part of, where they're literally in war zones and they're fighting for their lives. And I can't imagine being in there. But their mind also goes into, how can I get clients? How can I make money? How could I create a better life for myself? I see this in relationships where relationships are in crisis and women are like, okay, but if I do this to help my partner, if I fix this in the relationship, if this can just happen on the outside, then this would fix the problem. That will be the solution. I see that in business that are struggling. I see that with businesses or business owners who don't have many clients or money flow is low. And the thing that they go to is, what can I do? How can I fix this? What's the quickest thing that can happen right now to bring in clients, to bring in more, to get what it is I want? And the reoccurring thing, whether your life's in danger or it's in a relationship or it's in money or it's in your business or even in your health, what I'm noticing, the first thing that women do, or the women I'm surrounded with and I'm observing in the world, is that they go into, what can I do? How do I fix this? What is the quickest solution here? How can I receive what it is I want? And the problem with that is that you're not going to receive what you want when you're in survival mode. When you're in fight or flight, whether you feel like you're in fight or flight, or if in your current reality, you are in fight or flight. And the point is that whether you're in real danger or not, when you are coming from survival mode, you're not going to create the desirable deep down results that you want. It's going to be a quick fix. It's going to be that quick hit. It's going to be that quick high that's not going to last. Whether it's in your relationships or money or your business, when you are rooted in survival mode, in survival frequency, in fight or flight, in fear, in danger, in lack. So if you want to create the overflow, the surplus, the abundance, the success that you really want in your business, in your career, in your life, in your finances, in your relationships, in your health, it's never going to come from survival. If it comes from survival mode, chances are the results will be in spurts. It will not be sustainable. It would not even feel soul satisfying, because then the minute you get it, you go back into, well, how am I going to do that again? When is it going to come again? Is it going to happen? You're on the edge of your seat. You're bracing yourself to fight your way to the next level, to fight for what you want next. So the results you want is never going to come from survival, because the results that you want will only come when you come from creator mode, in creation mode, not survival mode, from creation mode. When you know and feel at the foundational root within you, not outside of you, not in your bank account, not in your relationship, not in your home, not in your business, not anything outside of you, nothing tangible, but when it comes from a grounded, connected, anchored, sure place within you. When you come from the creator energy within you. That's how you're going to create sustainable results. That's what's going to create the success that you truly want. So today, I'm going to walk you through 3 steps to start moving out of survival mode into creator mode. And you can make that decision today. You can have that awareness today, which I'm going to give you today, guide you through today. And it will require you to continue doing the work from this day forward to create a new energy, create a new cycle, a new pattern where you are no longer creating from survival, where you're no longer worrying and wondering where your next results are going to come from or where the next client is going to come from, where you can actually sit in some dips, which are natural because life ebbs and flows, money ebbs and flows, everything in life ebbs and flows, and where you can sit in those dips and ebbs and flows in deep, profound peace, confidence, and in your power. So if you notice that this is bringing up some stuff for you where you go into, okay, how do I get my next client? Okay, what email do I need to write? Something's wrong with my structure here. Something's wrong with my messaging here. Or what do I have to do? Oh, that's too much money. We can't afford that. I have to take this stuff out of my budget in order to have more. You have to take a look at where you are operating in survival energy, whether it's in your relationships, in your health, in your money, in your business, or any area of your life. And you'll notice that when you're coming from survival energy, you're only going to create more situations to survive in. How am I going to pay this next bill? Oh, I committed to this program. How am I going to pay it? Then you go into like being scrappy and figuring it out and moving money around and doing what you have to do. When you come from survival mode, you're only going to create more things for you to survive in, more situations and experiences to survive in. So how do we break that pattern today? Let's do it. Get that pen and paper out, or just reflect on this as I share this with you, and just notice what comes up for you initially. And you can always come back to this at any time. So as I mentioned before, this is not something you need to do. There's no more having to do on the external level. There's no having to wait for something to change, the partner to change, the client to come in. There's nothing you have to do in terms of how you write your emails or however way you market in your business. It's no longer about that. It's no longer about the external, but it's all about the internal from this moment forward. This is the part where we do the work within to change survival mode, to shift out of being in survival mode into creator mode. And this is a practice. You're going to like dip in and out, and not to say, caveat, hopefully this is clear. This is not to say you're never going to have to do again. You're never going to feel fear again. You're never going to feel worried again. What's going to happen is the more you do this, the more connected and committed you are to this work, the more you start seeing results too and building that evidence that, oh, this shit works, the easier it'll be to come back to this place and choose consciously and also be so aware of like, ooh, I'm operating from fear right now. I'm not in my power. I'm not coming from creator mode. I'm coming from this victim mode, or I'm coming from fight or flight, survival mode right now. So this is you understanding that this is inner work that is required to change his pattern and to create something new. Okay? And then, yes, we will get to the external part. That's part of the work down the road. So here are my top 3 questions for you to start breaking the pattern of creating in survival mode and moving you into creator mode. Number 1, where is this fear and lack coming from? When and where did it first originate? When and where did it first originate? You might say, no, I'm in real danger here. Like I'm in a war zone, or my job is on the line, or I physically can't see the money in the account and I don't know how I'm going to pay my rent or my bills, right? This is not saying that what you are feeling is not valid and it's not real. I'm not saying any of that. What I'm saying is, if you can locate that feeling where you first felt that fear and lack, and it's not to be the very first time, but if you can just step out just for this moment, because if you're listening, I'm assuming in this moment, you're in a space where you're not in imminent danger, right? Because sometimes our bodies and minds tell us we are when we're not necessarily in that danger. So in this moment, in this present moment, can you just tune in and sit with that fear, sit with that lack, sit with that worry, that old familiar feeling, and ask yourself, when did I first start feeling this? And then whatever comes to mind, say, and before that, what came before that, and before that, and before that. And you will see how far back you want to go. And it may even come up later as well, and that's fine. But the point of it is to take you out of this situation and bring you into the awareness that this is a practice frequency within you that therefore led to the current circumstances that you are in right now, or that you see right now in your life. On some level, a soul level, a conscious level, a subconscious level, there is a practice frequency within you that resonates with fear and lack. So you're emitting fear and lack, or whatever lower vibration frequencies, and that was practice, that was borrowed, that became your dominant practice frequency. And therefore, what you have now in your life is just a result of what's been practiced for so long on the conscious or subconscious level. Because what has manifested in our life now is a result of what's been practiced then, back then. So just bringing awareness to these first feelings of fear and lack and worry and guilt or shame. When did that first originate? What memories come to mind? That's the first step, okay? Just recognizing it. For me, mine was this feeling of what I do is never enough. And that showed up in my current business, in my life. And I'm 10 years in my business, and that feeling kept showing up even when I was hitting certain goals, even when my programs were full, even when I was working with dream clients. It still felt like it was never enough. And it's easy to blame the client, the economy, the feedback, the whatever, right? But when I took a closer look deep down, I'm like, this feeling has been reoccurring, that no matter what I do, it's never enough. Whether it's success in my business or a failure in my business, not that I believe anything's a failure, but whenever I felt like that dip, it felt like no matter what I did or no matter what I had, it was never enough. And when I went deeper into that feeling, It brought me back. It's almost like this defining moment in my life. In high school, I had a defining moment of no matter what I do, it is never enough. And it came from when I would pull all-nighters and really bust my ass to do really good in school. And it wasn't enough because even though I bent over backwards, I sacrificed sleep, I sacrificed my health, I pushed against my intuition, pushed against what my body was saying when I really didn't understand. And I start believing something is wrong with me. You got to work harder. You got to push harder. And I did all the things and I still got like a C plus or C minus. And I remember being relieved, just showing my parents, at least I passed. I mean, I wasn't happy, but I was relieved. At least I passed. I didn't fail. And I just remember being like, oh, can't we just tell my parents, at least I passed? And the response would be like, well, why didn't you get an A? And so it buried that feeling within me that no matter what you do, Minerva, you can pull all-nighters, you can study, you can even get the tutors, which I did, and I still would get a C. I just wasn't grasping it. So I was like, something is wrong with me. I'm just not that person. And it just keeps burying and nurturing that belief, that feeling. And then it manifests not just that one time, but because of this deep, very defining moment and story and feeling I carried within me, it manifests itself in so many things in my life up until my adult years, up until I was running my businesses. Still running my businesses, but I'm sharing a story that I have worked through and I see how it affected me and I healed through that and changed that, right? So until we locate that core belief, that feeling, and just identify, that's your first step, is just to identify the feeling. Then you can bring more awareness and you can step into choice from awareness. I'm like, ooh, this is a feeling I had when I was like 8 years old, when I was 14 years old, in my 20s. Oh, it's because of this relationship. I never healed it. I never took the time. Just becoming aware, and it brings you back to your power because it doesn't make it seem like something that's happening to you, but we can see our power and our contribution to this. And not from a blaming way, but from a conscious way. From consciousness, we can choose. From awareness, we can choose different. Okay, so the first step is just becoming aware of that old familiar feeling. So when and where did that original feeling start? Just awareness there. Number 2, what is a different way of seeing it? So we're telling ourselves a story around it. No matter what I do, it's never enough. That's how I felt. No matter how much I study, no matter who I pay to help me, no matter how early I start, no matter what I do, it's never going to be enough. And even, I think I got like 1A my entire high school career, like A plus in math. And I was really proud of that. But then as I'm saying this, I realized that wasn't enough because I'd be like, yeah, but all the other classes I didn't do well in, or I didn't get A pluses in. Right? So, what is a different way of seeing it? So I was telling myself a story that no matter what I do, it's never enough. But if you were to zoom out of it, and if you can see it in a different way, what are all the other ways? What are all the other possibilities? Some other meanings that you never even explored, or maybe you sense on some level or know on some level that was never about you. It was never personal. If someone told you you were not smart, you're never going to make it, you talk too much, you're too much, we can't afford it. Even if they were pointing their fingers, yelling at you because you, I don't know, hit them with your bike or something. They're like, it's your fault. You're clumsy. You're not going to get anywhere in life. Even if you did something directly to someone and they pointed back to you and said, you, it's all because of you, and you took that in and believed them, just like the book, The Four Agreements, he even says, even if someone comes and shoots you and points a gun at you, it's not even about you. It's never about you. It's about that person and their feelings and their beliefs and their experience and what they are feeling and experiencing internally. So if you can go back to that original feeling And that original thought behind that feeling that it's never enough, I will never be safe, I'm not enough, I'm not smart enough, I will never amount to success, I will always struggle, I will never have enough money. That was never yours. You never came into this world with that belief. You picked it up at a very early age, so it felt like your own, but you, at the core essence of you and why you came here on this earth, never believed that. You maybe had to walk through that journey, experience it. You chose that as part of your soul schooling here on earth. You had to walk through it, but it's never your own. So, what are some other ways you can view that belief? You can view the meaning behind that feeling. Maybe it's because your parents were in survival mode. They were doing the best they could. Maybe they were going through their own wounds and their own inner child healing that they didn't even do yet. Maybe there's some trauma there. And even though they may have said something to you, it was never about you. So, how can we see this differently and see it in a way that when you hit the truth of it, it's going to feel lighter? So, some other ways to look at this is, what would your soul say about this experience or this feeling? What would your inner being say about this? What do you sense is the lightness and truth around this? Because when you tell yourself this belief, when you keep revisiting this feeling, the reason you feel so poorly, you feel so bad, because there's a truth that you're not seeing and admitting to yourself. When you tap into the truth, and I say this to my clients in everything, but especially in Manifest Vortex, in my membership, when we go into heavier light tool a lot, and like, if it's light, it's right. If it's heavy, it's a lie. It's your first indication your body is telling you something is out of alignment here, something's not true for you here. Stop choosing it. But how can you view this differently? And when you start viewing it differently, you will feel lighter. You start shifting out of fight or flight, from danger mode, from the threat mode, and start moving into a space of lightness, of safety, calmness in your body, so that you can therefore start creating from consciousness, creating abundance, creating ease, creating flow, creating sustainably the results that you want, and not from this fight or flight danger mode, which is then, as we've shared, is only going to repeat that experience and results in your life. So number 2 is, how can you view this differently? Or what is a different way of seeing it? Number 3, and my final question here for reflection for you is, what is one thing you can do differently to set this into motion? So from that new point of view, from seeing it differently, from seeing from a higher point of view, from a place of lightness and strength and truth, from the truth of the situation, you'll know it's a truth when it feels light, when you realize that, oh, it was never about me. They were afraid of my light. I was so powerful, they didn't even know what to do. How could they nurture me for my dreams when their parents told them that their dreams are not possible or practical? Right? So we start seeing it differently, we start feeling differently, and then from that place, what is one thing you can do differently to set this into motion? Here's the action piece. This is the part where I say doing comes into play. We clear the energy, we clear the heaviness, and we do it from a more empowering place. We do it from our creator energy, from the creator within us. This is us creating consciously, because we're choosing consciously. We're feeling lighter. We're feeling in alignment to our truth and who we really are, the vibration of who we are, and therefore creating from the vibration of who we are: truth, light, peace, love, joy, ease, and setting that into motion with action. That's your job. That's where the action part comes in. So what is one thing you can do differently to set this into motion. So if you realize it was never about you, it's not that you didn't work hard enough or you're not smart enough. It was never about you. So from that truth of like, oh, it wasn't that there's something wrong with me or I didn't work hard enough. In fact, I work the best when I'm actually relaxed and at ease. So with that truth, right? And my family couldn't teach me that because they were immigrants. They were in survival mode. They came here in Canada when they were like 22 years old, and my parents were pregnant with me and literally were like, where are we going to live? Like, what do we do? We're pregnant. We're 22. I can't imagine personally me. I had my first child at 34, 35. I can't imagine having a child at 22. Now, I know everyone's different. This is not a judgment, but knowing me and who I was at 22, there is no way I could have taken care of a child. Like, I probably would have figured it out and baby would turn out to be fine. But you know what I mean? Like, I just know me at that time, and I can't imagine moving to a country and trying to figure out life. And I haven't even figured out myself yet. So my point is, from the lightness and truth of, it wasn't like my parents were ever saying, you're never going to make it. It's never good enough. You know, I bought into the lie. I then created the feeling and the belief that I can't get things through ease and that it could be easy. I thought I had to only create through survival and fight energy all the time. And then I realized that that energy wasn't serving me and I didn't want to keep creating from there. And that I realized that actually my easiest and best manifestations and most abundant results in my life always came when I was the most relaxed and at ease. So in that truth, what can I do to anchor into that vibration? To put that truth into action even more, to water that seed so that keeps growing. So maybe that would mean I would take a day off. Maybe that would mean I would start implementing at least 1 hour a day to myself to start my day in a state of ease. For me, it took a while to eventually move my business into 3 days a week, 2 to 3 days a week. But before, like literally 6 years ago, I was like, there's no way I can take Mondays and Fridays off and evenings off and weekends off. Are you kidding me? Clients are going to need me. There's way too much to do where I want to be. And in fact, things actually start picking up when I scaled back in the amount of energy and that hard, grungy time work I was putting in. So again, I didn't just land here in one day, just wake up and be like, okay, I'm just going to work 2-3 days a week. Like maybe for some people you can just jump to that and you're just going to take that leap and do it. And that's totally fine. And you will figure your way through there. But for me, I worked gradually to that and start building in ease. So start off with taking half days off on Fridays and then the full days off on Fridays. And then after having my kids, I realized I really need Mondays off because weekends aren't weekends anymore, right? So Mondays are my weekends and my time for grounding. And then I work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday is my me day. And weekends are family days, family fun days, or we relax. That's fun too. But you know what I mean? So it was a gradual step towards that, but it started with coming from the truth and lightness of me and the truth and lightness of what felt true to me and what I wanted to be. It wasn't me forcing this new feeling onto myself, but you arrive there. You achieve that by doing the inner work and going through these steps, by becoming conscious of these old familiar feelings that were never yours to carry for the rest of your life. And shifting that feeling, shifting that energy, and shifting the belief behind it so that this is more anchored. This is what lasts, because belief systems are important. Your thoughts do create things. You practice that over time. That's what becomes real. That's what shows up in your life. So you need to start nurturing. If you want a different reality, you do need to nurture a different thought. And from that new thought, from that new vibration, from the new energy, we set that into momentum with action. And small, consistent action over time is what will then build this new creator energy, this new creator life that you can look around and be like, yeah, I created this. And you're proud of it. And you know you can create and tweak at any time. So, those are my 3 steps for you to move out of survival mode into creator mode. I hope this helped you. Let me know how this resonates. Leave comments, leave reviews, message me on Instagram. I love hearing from you all. And if this served you and you love the support and you want to go deeper and further and faster, I have 2 fun ways we can work together. The Manifest Vortex, currently right now, you can join for 14 days free, and then it goes into just $50 a month Canadian. So I think that's even less for our American friends. Or you can commit to 6 months or 12 months for a bigger discount. You can cancel anytime if you go month by month as well. And there's also the Superhuman Mastermind where we go deep. And this is more one-on-one support, a high-level container where you get support from me in a group setting. We meet 2 times a month for hot seat coaching, as well as Telegram support to ask me questions at any time. And you actually get access to Manifest Vortex, where I am dropping weekly energetic alignment and practical strategic tips for you to guide you on your way to manifesting that bigger vision and real results in your business and life that you do want, that is sustainable and soul satisfying. So if you feel called to explore any one of those, I would love to have you there. We'll leave the links below, and feel free to ask questions if you have any. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you all next week.